Well, all right. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Bloodied and Bruised podcast. Today, joining me all the way from Pennsylvania is Joe Colfer. Joe and I met through the Fight Worn collecting game on Facebook. And yeah, he's been gracious enough to give us some of his time, talk fights, talk a few other things, play a little game. So yeah, Joe, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Just relaxing. Pretty excited but nervous to do this. I never did like a podcast or anything like this before. So I said about having any like weird ticks or keep repeating myself like a certain like word or phrase, anything like that.
Well, I smile like nonstop. So, and that's just
Yeah, just creepy
my
smile,
person.
not knowing what to do.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's a habit. I do that in conversation on. I'm just a happy-go-lucky person. But anyway, so yeah, man. Just out of curiosity, I know I've bought some stuff from you before, traded some stuff with you. Actually, the Matoush Gamrot jersey that I traded to you, I actually sold it to my buddy that's been doing this with me, Christian. So he actually has the Matoush Gamrot jersey now.
Oh, okay, so found a new home. Nice.
Yeah. So he loves it. He's a big Matoush fan.
Oh
But
yeah.
anyway, so what got you into mixed martial arts? What made you a fan?
So like most people, there's like 2 or 3 waves where people came in. They either came in through COVID, Conor McGregor, or they were a WWE fan, and then started watching with Brock Lesnar. That's the route that got me into the UFC. Is I was just super into WWE. Brock Lesnar fought. The first one I watched was him versus Frank Mir, UFC 100. So I was watching for that, but then like the Bisping Hendo knockout that like hooked me. So then I would like sporadically watch here and there. The one that really got me into was Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva. Like Chael's just kind of like WWE like theatrics, kind of like lured me in even deeper. And then the fight was phenomenal too, like the last second sub. And then it was pretty much just on from there.
Yeah, so I was a I guess you could say a late bloomer. I like to think of myself as a recent fan, but then I realized it's been golly, 5 years now, basically. Basically, I watch the sport a little bit like with friends when we go to bars and whatnot. Um, and Buffalo Wild Wings back when they consistently showed fights. Um, but never really got like hardcore into it, right? And I played the game. I think it was Undisputed 2 or 3. My ex-girlfriend had an Xbox 360 and I like to play fighting games. I was like, well, this ought to be fun, you know? And then I had a guy I worked with back in the day at a music store. Shout out to George, that was a fantastic or is a fantastic guitar player and was a big mixed martial arts guy. He trains. He's just got his black belt in jiu-jitsu, actually. So congratulations to him. But he was telling me about different guys like Anderson, back, this was 2009. And so I knew about all these guys, knew GSP was, knew who Chuck Liddell was, obviously knew who Brock Lesnar was because he was in WWE. Everybody kind of knew
Yeah.
him, but I never paid attention. And then the McGregor versus, or I should say, Khabib versus McGregor card, my buddy invited me to go watch him. And I was like, I mean, sure, cool. I'll go with you. I played the games because I got an Xbox later on and I think it was the EA Sports UFC 2.
Okay.
So I started playing the games again, but never watched, and heard about Connor when he knocked out Aldo. I was working over in Singapore and basically went to the fights, was watching intently. And with everyone that went by, they were great. And then Derek Lewis knocking out Alexander Volkov was like, whoa. And I'll never forget, I looked at my wife because I knew how the scoring system worked from the game. And I was like, this dude's got to do something or he's done. It's over. And obviously he did something. And then the Ferguson Pettis fight, I was like,
Yeah,
this is
phenomenal.
insane. And then seeing Khabib just dominate Connor. I knew who Connor was. I kind of knew who Khabib was, but like that was just because my buddy said, hey, look him up. Okay.
Are you did you have a rooting interest in that Conor Habib fight, or were you just
I mean, it was like one of those things of, I guess you could say I was pulling for Connor because I knew who he was. But
okay?
watching what Khabib did to him, I was like, this dude is absolutely insane. And there are these dudes, get up, get up, get up, screaming and stuff in that bar. They were so mad. And then, and then when Khabib flew over the cage, I was like, whoa, this
Yeah,
is
like
okay. And then so I was hooked. I have an addictive personality. I got hooked. And then the fight that really, really, really did it for me though was to be in UFC 231, which was Holloway versus
Ortega, right?
Mhm. And that fight was where I was like, all right, I'm 100% in. I continued to watch events with my buddy after that, but but or after the McGregor fight, but UFC 231 it was set in stone from
Yeah, I
there.
remember Santos and the British guy.
Manoa.
Manuel, yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. Exactly, dude. That fight was wild on the prelims.
Yes, it was. That's one when Santos fought Johnny Walker. And it was such a boring fight.
Yeah,
And my cousin, one of my cousins, Jeremy, he's like he watches, right? But his little brother and I are very, very like hardcore. Jeremy will watch. Jeremy travels a lot. But anyway, he's like, man, this dude, isn't that the guy that fought John Jones with no knees? Because we were in Bangkok and we all watched that fight together. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, this wasn't the same guy. And I was like, yeah, the knee thing changed him. And then we pulled up
it makes the same sense.
the Manawa fight, and my cousin was like, what? What? Yeah, completely different guy. The
Yeah, he's just
the
twirling
knee stuff
around,
changed
throwing all
him.
those wheel kicks and stuff. That fight's so
Oh,
clean.
dude, that fight. I sometimes I forget about that one, actually, as bad as it sounds. And that opening 10, 20 seconds, the whole fight, but the opening 10, 20 seconds of it, you're like, what?
Dude, such an
Absolutely
underrated
insane.
banger.
Yeah, like like I said, I have pretty good memory. I completely forgot about that one. And Manawa, man, I always feel bad because like he's on the opposite side of like one
Yeah,
of my favorite knockouts of all time, Rakic head
the
kick.
head kick.
Yeah, do you remember
Yeah.
what card that was?
Gustafson Smith.
Bingo, you got it. You got it. You got it.
I have
So
a weird
yeah,
memory like that.
I do too. So yeah, that's interesting because mine is very odd, and we'll get into that later. But so yeah, this weekend, man, I know that we were texting earlier. I haven't had chance to really do like a deep dive into any of these fights actually. Um, but I've definitely got a few surface opinions, if you will, on a few. So if you've got the card pulled up and you can
You want to start at the
lead the way.
top, at the main event, or at the bottom?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we'll start at the main event. Lerone Murphy is a minus 148 favorite, and Edson Barboza is plus 125 on the comeback. Do you want me to start, or you want to get into your thoughts on that?
You go for it. I don't have too many. Like I said, I didn't get to do a lot of tape study, and as bad as it sounds, there's certain guys that stand out very, very much so, and it's usually guys that I have studied tape for. Like if I study tape for them once, I remember it. But if
Yeah,
it's somebody that I watched live, like in the moment, unless there was something really stuck out to me, as bad as it sounds, I don't usually remember too well. So yeah, I don't have too much of a hard opinion on this. I just know that Lerone Murphy is 14-0-1, and the one being a draw, right?
yes.
Khabib versus
It was
Poirier card.
Zubaya Tukagov.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
I
fought him
remember
to
that
a
one.
draw. Where it was his debut. He came in short notice. Tukagov always starts off hot, and then Lerone Murphy built in the fight and won the second or third rounds pretty clearly. So, but I think he got dropped round one, so it was a 10-8.
Mm-hmm.
And then he built into the fight, like I said, and took over from there. If it was a 5-round fight, you know it would have been Lerone Murphy winning. But this weekend, man, it's an interesting fight. Like I remember when we were talking last week about Aldo and Martinez. One thing I mentioned is this post-USADA period, dude. These Brazilians, they're showing up. Like we saw last week, Carlos Diego Ferreira, right? He put on a phenomenal performance. So this no USADA thing, that's something to definitely keep an eye on when you see like these older fighters that were shot, but you haven't seen them yet. Without USADA, they've been turning up. Chris Weidman, he fought really well. Rafael dos Anjos almost upset Gamrot, hurt him real bad in the first round. So the big key to this fight, I think, is going to be will Lerone Murphy pressure? Will he like be assertive? Because Barboza, he's like pretty allergic to pressure, you could say. The fights he's lost, like Bryce Mitchell, Habib, Tony Ferguson, they just run him ragged. And He just tries to do that skirt around the ring, and he just gasses. He can't deal with pressure because he's always trying to like reset. But Laurel Murphy, I don't think he really fights like that. So I think he might try and have like a slower, like tit for tat kickboxing match, which is not what you want to do against Edson Barboza at all. So I'm really liking Edson Barboza as an underdog. And another interesting, like kind of like an X factor on this that my buddy Pepe pointed out to me. Laurel Murphy, he's never fought outside of Europe. He's only fought in the UK and Abu Dhabi. That's it. So he's coming over here to the United States for the first time for his first main event against Edson Barboza. I don't know. I think Barboza's a good bet as an underdog. And what do you think? Like your surface level. I know you said you haven't really like looked into it.
So I'm glad you touched on the pressuring of Barboza. That was like I saw a video one time, and can't remember like what channel on YouTube it was, but it was talking about how that dude was just murking people. I think it was like a thing called like invincible fighters who were no longer invincible once people figured out like a game plan, and that was what they talked about with Barboza, is guys that didn't let him keep distance, didn't let him lead the dance. Once people were able to put him on the back foot and not let him fight and choose his shots, get in his face, is where he started to struggle. You said he's plus what, 138?
Plus 124.
Oh, 124. And then that's minus 138 for
minus 148 for Laurel Murphy.
48. Yeah. So let me ask you this. I'm trying to think, can you pull up Laurel Murphy's record and tell me who he's fought in the UFC?
Yep.
Besides,
so he debuted against Tukagov, and then he knocked out Ricardo Ramos. Then he won a decision against Douglas Silva de Andrade, knocked out Makwan Murakami, Gabriel Santos by decision. And honestly, I scored that fight for Santos. I thought Santos won that fight.
What event was that?
That was Edwards Usman 3, UFC 286.
Okay, the one in London.
Yes. Yeah.
And who did he fight again?
Gabriel Santos.
I think I do remember this fight.
So Gabriel Santos in the second fight, he had a pretty good showing against Onama, and then he got clipped by like a big uppercut and got knocked out. But he's a good fighter, so it's not like a shame to like not have your best performance against him. But I did score that fight for Santos, and then his most recent fight was Joshua Kulabau back on the Tom Aspinall comeback card against Tybura.
Okay, I do remember that one. Kulabau is the one, Kuya, right? The Filipino guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's okay. Yeah, and then when you said the Makwan Murakami knockout, I kind of remember that one. That one definitely sticks out. I mean, if I were a betting man, and like you said, I guess kind of what my head goes back to as well is Super Sadiq having the first round that he had against Barboza, and I remember
Mitchell dropped him.
And well, that's true too. But I think like when you look at the Sadiq fight, is he had that 10-8 round and almost got him out of there, and then Barboza came back and put it on him and almost put him away with a wheel kick in the third or fourth round. So I mean, I'd have to kind of do a little bit, even like surface look, to really say who I would be certain in taking. But I mean, dog odds that are that narrow makes me kind of want to lean with the dog. I don't know if I would bet it personally, just on a whim, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, I mean, Barboza has red flags. I think he's 37, 38. Either way, he's had a super 35 career fights. He's 38 years old. He's been dropped at this weight class. He's been knocked out at this weight class by Giga. So there are certainly red flags, but I feel like those are baked in the price. Like, he's already the underdog. It's not like you got to lay juice on him. So
yeah, I agree.
I'm on with Barboza.
Okay. Co-main event, who is it?
Co-main event is Chaos Williams versus Carlston Harris. Now, I honestly, I like Carlston Harris in this spot. pick him. I think he just has way more ways to win because Chaos Williams, he's super low output, super low output. He's pretty much a KO or bust kind of fighter, or needs to have several big moments. And Carlson Harris, he just makes stuff happen. Like he's a great grappler. His striking super ugly. So I mean, the counter opportunities will be there for Chaos Williams, but yeah, I just think Carlson's going to just do more and be able to take a decision or get it to the floor and sub him.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember some of his fights. Like, know the name so well. Now, Chaos Williams, he's the one. Well, he knocked out Nico Price, if I remember right. Yeah, he did. He did. Yes, I would be willing to bet that he definitely knocked out Nico Price.
He didn't.
He didn't?
No.
Really? They fought though.
Not his UFC runs Alex Morono, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, Michelle Pereira, Semmelsberger, Baeza, Randy Brown, Rolando Bedoya.
Okay, that's how they're tied together. They both fought Abdul Razak Al Hassan. I can't even say it. That's how they're tied together. Okay, I stand corrected. Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Al Hassan, let's just call him that.
Yeah.
Al Hassan is the one who knocked out Nico Price. Okay, yeah. And then who was the one? There was one you said he's getting ready to fight at 170 against Punahele Soriano, which I don't know how that.
Miguel Baeza.
Yes, and starched him. That dude's chin is very, very questionable.
So I don't think it's Baeza's chin. I think he has no confidence.
Oh, didn't he get knocked out by Matt Brown?
Yeah, or he got dropped by Matt Brown and then knocked out Matt Brown. I'm pretty sure.
I could have swore that he's been knocked out at least twice in the UFC, or maybe was it Santiago Ponzinibbio that knocked him out?
Ponzinibbio won by decision. Fiallo and Chaos Williams are the guys that KO'd him.
Why did I think? Oh, he did knock out Matt Brown. I remember now.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
like he got hurt bad by Matt Brown.
I do remember that now. That was like early COVID, maybe. I know where I was when I watched the fight. I can't remember the event, but I know where I was when I watched the fight.
Yeah, early COVID. You're right. Overeem versus Harris.
That's it. Yeah, because that was the same one. Song Yadong versus Cheeto should have been on it, I think.
Okay.
And Edson Barboza versus Dan Ige was on it as well. I'm pretty sure. Fairly confident. I don't know how I remember, just based on where I was. But anyway, yeah, I can't really speak to it. I just know that Chaos Williams, no matter what, win or lose, he doesn't make it an easy fight for anybody. Carlson Harris, just read me his last couple real quick.
Yeah, no problem. So he made his debut against Christian Aguilera and subbed him. He knocked out Impa Kasangane. He got knocked out by Shavkat. Beat Jared Gooden by decision. And then his last fight, he choked out Jeremiah Wells after getting dominated. He pulled out an anaconda choke in the third round.
That's why I know him. Shavkat. Okay.
Yep.
I know that fight. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to even attempt to pick a side because I would hate to pick one and sound really stupid if it backfires. That's just me. So, next one, hit us.
All right. Next one is Ramiz Brahimaj. Hope I'm saying that correctly.
Brahimov. Or Brahimaj.
He's plus 124 versus Themba Gorimbo at minus 148. And for this fight, man, I've been trying to bet against Themba Gorimbo. Like, I think I bet Pete Rodriguez against him. And that did not go well. But I'm just going back to the well. I'm Martin Gay on it. I don't really have too much of a reason why. I know Ramiz can grapple. That's really all I got. I don't have too much of a breakdown for this fight. I didn't spend much time breaking it down. I'm not going to pretend to have too much of an idea other than I just don't think Themba is a good enough fighter to be a favorite in many UFC fights.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know that there's a lot of people putting money on him. I'm trying to think of some fights from Is it Brahimaj? Yeah, it ends with a J, right?
He's the guy that got his ear ripped off by Maxine Griffin.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Ugh. I remember that. Yeah. I'm not gonna make a comment. I'll just say Themba Gorimbo.
Yeah,
because I know what
the
he's
UFC wants him
capable
to
of.
win. So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got a really awesome story. So, I mean, I'm pulling for him just for that fact alone.
all right, next on the card we got Adrian Yanez as a minus 400 favorite. Vinny Salvador coming back at plus 330. And if Adrian Yanez loses this fight, I think he should probably reconsider what he's doing. With all due respect, like I hate to like trash fighters like that. I'm a bum, but he really has no business losing to Vinny Salvador. The minus 400 price tag is pretty justified in my opinion. I think all of Salvador's success would be front loaded if he has to get something done round one. And I would give Adrian Yanez higher equity to get a round one knockout than Salvador. It's really all I got on that fight. I think the price is justified. It's kind of boring talking about like these huge wide lines.
Yeah, this one I do know a good bit about both of these guys. I was actually in attendance when Adrian Yanez knocked out oh, what was that guy's name? Andrea KGB Lee's husband, Tony Kelly.
Tony
Tony
Kelly.
Kelly. Yeah, I was there for that KO. And yeah, I like Adrian Yanez a lot. I think he definitely isn't nearly as good as a lot of people thought he was to start off. But Salvador is a layup. They're giving him that because they clearly want him to win it. It's a flyweight. If he doesn't win this one, that's pretty bad. I would agree that one's he needs to win this. If
Yeah.
the fact you said reconsider, I agree with that. Next.
All right. We'll move on to we have Angela Hill as a minus 136 favorite to Luana Pinheiro plus 116. I like to call her Pinhead. And this is a pretty cool fight. This is well matched. I like this fight. You know, it's a veteran versus a younger fighter. So, man, it's probably going to play out really close. Like the line says, Pinheiro will come out hot. She'll have a sick judo toss and spike Angela Hill on her head at least once. But the longer the fight goes, Hill will get more and more into it. If I had to bet somebody here, it would be Luana Pinheiro, but I really don't have any interest in betting a fight like this. It's just going to be fun to watch. I'm a fan of Angela Hill, and Pinhead's fights are always funny to me. So, you got anything on this one?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's funny you called her Pinhead. And I agree. I think the early goings could get a little bit dicey, but the longer it goes, I've never been a Angela Hill fan. Like I've just always thought that there was a little bit of overhyping with her. Her fans are just, I mean, no disrespect, but I've always thought it was crazy that these guys are such hardcore fans of somebody that's like a borderline 500 fighter. And like
Yeah.
she has moments, but like, what has she really done that justifies, oh man, she's so good or she's such a badass? It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
So she's just like always down to take short notice fights. Like she just kind of has like that, like almost like Cowboy Cerrone like thing to her, where she'll fight really anyone, like anytime, like if it's a bad matchup. Doesn't really like buck smoke, you could say.
Yeah,
But she does have some simps.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, but the later the fight goes, I think oh, what'd you call it, Pinhead?
Yeah,
She's semi-dangerous. She's got power early on. I mean, she hurt Hebus, it seems like, pretty decently in the first round.
yeah.
And then
Hebus is such a punching bag. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that is exactly. It's unfortunate that she is a punching bag, but she's fun. That's
Yeah,
kind of what makes her fun to watch, and that's the one where she got like the wheel kick or the like a turning side kick to the face and then finished off. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. What were the odds on this one?
Luana was plus 116, and Angela Hill's a minus 136 favorite.
I mean, to me, that's not a bad number to throw money at.
On Hill.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have access to live betting, I'd probably just wait out round one because I imagine, like we were saying, Luana's going to win round one. And then Luana, like, she's a pretty easy girl to tell when she's deflating and falling out of the fight. Like, her body language gets terrible. It goes downhill fast for her. And so if you get a sense for that, I would just fire away if you have live betting. And you can also avoid possibly losing money if like Hill gets like judo tossed and then like armbar or something dumb happens in like some weird grappling sequence round one, or she gets caught by like a dumb punch and knocked out.
Yeah, I agree. I think I do have on when I'm allowed to bet or where I'm allowed to bet, I guess you could say, or when I feel like betting. I'm not a big better. I mean, I should probably put it that way. There is a live betting opportunity with I use my bookie. And it's so weird. It's intermittent. Sometimes they'll have it, and then there'll be like a 2 month stretch where they don't, and vice versa. It's just odd. But usually they tend to have it. So that is definitely a valid one. I like that. I like that take. Wait for first round, you'll get a better number. So which one's after that?
So next, we had two debutantes. We have Umar Sy as a minus 325 favorite versus George Tacos as a plus 250. I'll be honest, I haven't looked into these fighters yet. I don't really have anything to say.
What weight class is this?
205.
Okay, that's why I know the George guy, Tacos. I just saw something about him. He's 13-2, I think, or 13-1. I think
10
he's
and 3.
10-3. That's it. Okay, dyslexic a little bit, I guess. And yeah, okay. He's on a 5-fight win streak, I think. He actually fought in Bellator as well. Yeah, I haven't seen any tape on him. I definitely haven't seen tape on the other guy, so I'm not gonna attempt to sound smart. But I definitely know that there's some people talking about him, so he must have something behind him. I don't know if I like a guy that's 10-3 that's been knocked out twice, I think. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but then again, there's a lot of guys that have really bad starts and end up taking off. So there's that. I'll lean him just because.
You just want to skip to a fight like I kind of like have more of a take on?
Yeah, let's do
a lot
that.
of these they're UFC Apex prelims, so
Which you saw Dana saying that they're gonna start trying to pan out and get away from using Apex, is what I
yeah,
saw on a press conference. So good. I'm glad. They
yeah.
need
That'll
to
be when me and Ioane and Jacek go on our first date.
do what?
Well, me and Ioane and Jacek go on our first date to
Oh,
the UFC will be out of the Apex.
oh
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Hey, anything's possible if you
he's been saying that
believe,
shit for
man.
like 2 years.
All
But
right, so hit us.
dude, Abis Malagomedov is a minus 278 favorite, and this guy has 5 minutes of gas. Is there anything else to say? Like, how the hell is he that big of a favorite? I mean, Worley Alves has fought legit people.
He's
It's not like
buddy.
he's some bum. Like, and if anyone's gonna come up post USADA, I bet Worley used to be a pre-USADA menace. I bet he's gonna be juiced up. And Abbott, he sucks, man. Like the guy, he's not good. Who's betting this?
I mean, at that number, I get what you're saying. Like when you take what statistics show us, right? Like it does seem pretty, what's the word, asinine to bet. I would hope most people aren't betting minus 300. I think depending on the number, if you were going to bet the Abu side, you would want to do like a first round or first round by knockout prop.
Yeah,
I would assume you'd probably get closer to even money. I'm sure that actually the knockout prop, just a straight knockout, not even with a round prop mixed in, is probably, I would assume, very similar odds to his just straight money line, because that's kind of his path to victory. I just don't see him winning a decision. I know that who is it? It's Worley Alves, right?
yeah,
Yes,
Worley Alves.
that's a former 170 pounder, and I'm sure
Yeah,
that
he's coming.
the other reason this number is probably sitting where it is any other day. Well, I was just thinking about this fight today too. What's the Russian that was apparently Hamzat was brought in to be like a sacrificial lamb too, and then
Ikram.
there you go, Ikram Alaskarov. There you go. Where's he at? But I'm sure that that definitely plays into it. He already got smoked by a 185er. They're putting him
Yeah,
against another 185er that does have power. But like anybody putting this on like a parlay lineup, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I just don't
actually,
trust the guy. I can't trust the guy. Like I just don't see, no matter what you do, it's not worth the risk of ruining a parlay with that guy, especially if he's like, unless you're doing like a crazy, multiple, 4 or 5 leg parlay, maybe if you're feeling saucy, but he definitely wouldn't be like in a 1 or 2 man, like
yeah.
for me at least. Yeah, I'd stay away from this one at all cost.
And Abyss round 1 KO, because you mentioned earlier, it's plus 170.
Okay, so I mean, if you were gonna go take this, you're getting at least a decent number because I just don't
It's
see
his
a
win condition.
universe. I'm sorry.
It's like his win condition. Like I don't like how else does he win?
I mean, first round or maybe in the first two
Like yeah,
minutes, 2.5 minutes of round 2. If he wins any later than that, I mean, I guess he could be a moment winner where he somehow scrapes out a decision by staying alive in the third, dominating the first, and having some good moments in the second. But longevity wise, yeah, it's too risky. If you're gonna bet it, you bet at that or not at all.
yeah. So that's all I really had on this card. You want to talk about like a fun fight coming up that
Yeah,
you're into?
just an interesting thing I saw today that I just want to point out. And I'm not a boxing guy by any means, but did you see Darren Till just
Oh
there
yeah,
announced he's boxing
Julio Chavez Jr.
Junior, yeah, on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul on Netflix card. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious to see how he does boxing. I'm really curious. Uh, just curious. I think that's an interesting move too, because I've seen him popping up in the media the last couple of days, like almost made you wonder why is he suddenly popping up again, you know? And then
I
here
I
we
know he did
are.
Ariel Hawani's show like I think it was Monday or maybe yesterday.
E- exactly. Saying something like, "Oh, I still believe I can be UFC champ" or something. It's just interesting that he's going to boxing. Maybe it's because he's trying to get away from people who will wrestle him. I mean, I don't know.
The
I mean,
weird thing about the weird thing about Till is like, dude, his style. It's like he doesn't move his head, so I'd be kind of nervous boxing.
I
Like,
mean, he was a Muay Thai guy.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like,
that's stiff, no head movement. You know,
yep. Like Anderson beats this guy, but Anderson like he's dynamic with like his movement. He's not just standing like stiff up. Like
head up,
yeah,
chin way up there. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. It was definitely not what I expected to see when I was leaving work today. What do you
I,
think? Go ahead.
I was gonna say I hope Till gets knocked out just because it'd be funny. And the only fight I have any interest of in him outside of the UFC is Mike Perry, and it's like there on such a silver platter, and he's like doing this. So I hope it blows up in his face.
Yeah, I've never been a mega Till fan myself. I know a lot of people. I remember, dude, like the Brunson fight. He was a favorite, I think, a decent one, like in the 200s, I want to say.
Yeah, dude,
And
Brunson was an underdog for like a 5 fight stretch, and he won them all.
yeah, but that one, I was like, dude, why? Oh, dude, he's in a steamroll, Brunson. He's got good anti grappling. He's got good takedown defense. And I'm like, yeah, 170 against guys who aren't traditionally wrestlers, like
Yeah,
Cowboy and looking right at him. But God, why am I looking right at him? He's
Wonder Boy.
Dutch. Well, Wonder Boy, but it was a guy. Was it Nicholas Dalby that he fought?
He fought Dalby to a draw.
Yeah, and Dalby was able to take him down, and that's what people could say. Well, Dalby couldn't hold him down. It's like Dalby's not Derek Brunson, and that's
Yeah,
at
exactly.
170. And then clearly he clowned him.
Yeah,
um, so yeah, I just never quite got the fascination. I think the UFC kind of screwed him, maybe pushing him too fast. But as far as all these people that were super high on this guy thinking, he was the future, especially post Woodley, since I've been watching. Now I will say that I did pick him to beat Robert Whitaker. I just thought Robert Whitaker, I just had this weird feeling, and granted it was a very, very, very
that's what
close
I'm saying.
fight.
To your credit, that was Till's best performance in like years.
Yeah, realistically it was. Yeah. Another one, excuse me, another one that just got announced, and I know there seems to be some people with mixed feelings. online. But what do you think of Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov?
So I'm actually glad you brought that fight up because Sandhagen's my favorite fighter, so there's gonna be some bias in here. But dude, if Corey's not getting like a crazy like contract, like a crazy, you better be getting a lot of money to take this fight in Abu Dhabi, especially when there's a fight in his hometown in Denver 2 weeks before. Like, I don't really understand the UFC's fascination because they've been trying to book this fight for well over a year now. Umar pulled out the first time, but the 5 round aspect of it, that's what gives me hope as a Sandhagen fan. I mean, Umar, you would think it's like a very bad matchup for Sandhagen's style, like the control wrestling. I mean, obviously there's the lost Aljamain Sterling where he got backpacked pretty much immediately. But yeah, I just I have faith in Corey that the training with Ryan Hall will be funky enough for him not to get subbed, make Umar work, scramble, gas him out, and then get a finish in the later rounds. That's my ideal scenario as a Sandhagen fan, or Umar eats a knee coming in early, one of the two. But Corey's he's a super dynamic fighter, and I think he's actually like really underrated. But this is like the worst style matchup for him.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm kind of a weird one with this. I really like Sandhagen a lot. I really like Cousin Umar. I've been high on Cousin Umar since the first time I saw him. I it goes both ways. I want to see Sandhagen win because I really like Sandhagen, but then part of me wants to see Umar win just because the Dagestani haters will just lose their minds. And I know a
There's a
lot.
lot of Islamophobia people with that.
Yeah, and people, I think what it is too, a big part of it, I'll be honest, is because these Dagestani guys come in and they just dominate, and they dominate everybody's favorite fighters, and they hold a grudge because, you know, look what I did to your boy,
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's
And
demoralizing to watch your fair fighters lose how they win.
exactly. And so part of me, and I do like those guys, man. I know some people don't like that style, and I think what I like about Umar is the fact of the matter is he's not even traditionally, if you will, he is traditionally, but his base as far as what he tends to do,
He's a
if
great
you will.
kicker.
Exactly, dude. He's more of a taekwondo guy, but he's got the wrestling in his back pocket when he needs it.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to see how he does on the feet. I think he might put up a decent fight, but the length and the awkwardness of Corey Sandhagen would definitely give him problems on the feet. So I
It's a dumb
don't
game to play.
say that
If you're
again.
Umar, it's a dumb game to play if you're Umar. Like,
Yeah, I could see him testing it, and I could see it costing him if he tests it too long. But I do think at some point he shoots on the legs. I'm curious to see what happens if it gets extended. I really am. I think on paper, you would think that the later the fight goes, the more it favors Sandhagen. I'm not sure how I feel. This one, there's a lot of question marks still. I know a lot of people are mad because Aldo just won, which boy was I wrong on that one. He shut Martinez down. That one was a little frustrating for me to watch, but it is
I
what it
love it.
is. It was awesome. It was as somebody who really was confident in Martinez. I knew that Aldo had a potential, but the way he shut him down, and I don't know if I mean I don't want to take anything from Aldo, but it's almost like Martinez. I don't know if it was that he couldn't implement his game plan, or suddenly he got hit and wasn't was afraid to. I don't know. It was weird. Regardless, props to Aldo. I know a lot of people are pissed saying, well, Aldo should be fighting Sandhagen. But like you said, the UFC's been trying to put this one together. It puts, brings money to Abu Dhabi, which is a big market.
Yeah.
It brings eyes to Umar. And then if he wins this fight, he's right there at the top. But to be 100% honest with you, Marab is a big problem there. I mean, Marab, under most circumstances, I would almost be like Umar is going to be champion. I still think even if it's not soon, he will be one day. He's young, but Umar or Marab is a very big hurdle in the way.
I think Marab would out hustle him.
I think so. I mean, he wins on pace.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what will happen when he fights Sean O'Malley, but it does make me a little nervous because sometimes he gets a little wild early on. I
I was
mean,
gonna say, dude, I actually I favor like I give O'Malley a better chance to beat Marab than Umar, just like surface level off the top of my head. Because Marab, he's just so hittable, man. And O'Malley, he's one of the only guys in that division that can like actually end the night with a single shot. And he's super dynamic. Footwork's great. So I don't know. I just Marab, he just wades in like an idiot. And I think he's gonna like hit with some. He's so due to get called with something huge by somebody.
yeah, and up until the Cejudo fight, I mean, I know he got dropped in the first by Marlon Moraes, but up until the Cejudo fight, I was 100% sure that this dude was just going to steamroll O'Malley. I still pick him, pre really watching tape with intent. But I do think that he's going to probably open as a pretty big favorite, probably in the -3s, if I were to guess. I don't know. They probably have an opening money line or, a futures line on it. But
Yeah, I haven't seen any off the top of my head.
I would assume there's some somewhere, but he's probably in the -3s, maybe 275, 425, somewhere in between there, I would think. Um, and watch, I'm sitting here saying, "Oh yeah, O'Malley has a pretty good chance," and then watch, he just walks in there and then dog walks O'Malley and makes it look like because that was the thing is people, the Piotr Jan fight. I don't know, maybe I'm a little biased because I like Piotr Jan, but I've watched that fight a number of times. I see why the fanboys of O'Malley are like, "Oh yeah, he won, he beat your boy," but I'm like, I I think I don't want to call it a robbery because that makes it sound like Paddy Pimblett versus
No,
uh
yeah, you don't want to sound like you're coping, but no, I know exactly what you're trying to say. Marab, he wins in a very unimpressive way. Like,
yeah, no, I'm talking about
oh, you're talking
Piotr
about
Jan and Sean
O'Malley.
O'Malley. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was
Oh
very,
yeah,
very no, you're good, you're good. It's three fighters that have all been in a like
yeah,
triangle, so to
triangle.
speak. But yeah, I'm
I thought Jan
curious to
won that
see what
fight.
happens if he gets him down because Jan got him down, and Jan's a good wrestler, but I don't think he's the same wrestler that Marab is. And if O'Malley's able to get up, he'll get up. But how far? Like I guess what I'm trying to say is if he gets up, he gets taken down, he gets up. When he gets to his feet, how far away from him is Marab? Is Marab going to have to work his way back in, or is it going to be, oh, I'm back to my feet and I pushed you off, and Marab is literally back on the hips? Because what did he shoot? Like 47 takedown attempts against Piotr? He shot a lot.
It's ridiculous. Like, if O'Malley, yeah, like when we're talking about like fighters with like front loaded equity earlier, like O'Malley's very front loaded in that fight. Like he
Uh-huh.
has to. Like, if
He's going to get tired.
yeah,
Because in the third round against Piotr, he was like, you know, looking up
yeah, exactly.
and looking tired. So I got to ask this. This is a super, super random one since we're on the subject.
Okay.
Let's say they fought, you know, let's say 2 months from now, 8 weeks, so we can have a training camp. Who would you favor right now, O'Malley or Taporia?
Taporia.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
people that are like, "Oh, dude, keep doubting our boy," and I'm like, "There's a difference fighting a dude that's got one hitter quitter power up a weight class."
Yeah,
And
no, Taporia is a tank.
yeah, Taporia is going to be hard to beat. I love Max, and I know people are riding high on him right now because of the Gaethje fight. But yeah, dude, Taporia's. I don't see anybody who can beat him. Maybe Diego Lopez, honestly, just because of the power that he's got, and he's so chaotic in the clinch and stuff. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. Every time Taporia has got 14-0, so every time he fights, or he might be 15-0 now.
So along those lines, yeah.
So every time that he fights, he's going to continue to get better, and he's already so freaking good everywhere.
So my thing with Taporia is like the one fight where he got lit up a little bit, Jai Herbert. Like Max and Shauna is kind of like that similar, like long, lanky, like outside striker. So I just wonder, but
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you have to favor him. Like
yeah, and
Taporia is such a beast grappler, and he hasn't really shown it yet, too.
yeah. I think he only really showed it. Yusuf Salal in
Yeah,
his debut, he out wrestled him, and then obviously he subbed Bryce Mitchell. He's got really good takedown defense too. And
yeah,
I just wonder what happens if he decides to offensively wrestle against some of these guys. Well, he took down Bryce, so I don't know. I mean that the Jai Herbert fight is actually where I thought maybe I was curious, I guess you could say, or a little bit nervous in the back of my head for like Yair Rodriguez because of the kicking game. But
Yeah,
I just think Yair is going to be out of the picture, title picture, at least for a couple of years, because he's now what, on a 2-fight skid? Yeah, Volk
yep,
and Ortega. So I just don't see him getting to a title shot anytime soon. And that's just assuming he gets there, right? He has to win 2 or 3 fights to get there. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, Max definitely presents his problems. I think Movsar Evloev is definitely not cut out for it because of the takedown defense. Is just, I don't think he's gonna be able to do it.
one of those guys is there to like do serious damage, and the other one's not. Like in
Yeah,
fights like that, like there's an easy pick. Like
exactly. What do you think about this whole John Jones thing? Because he's now saying, or he said like last week, "Oh, I've got a date. I'll wait for Uncle Dana to announce it." Like, are we actually going to see the Stipe fight, or do you think we're just turning our wheels for no reason?
I think we are going to see the Stipe fight, and I'm not too happy about that, to be honest. Like my interest level in it is below zero. Like I just have more interest in seeing John Jones fight Derek Lewis. Like like seriously, like Derek Lewis has more relevant wins in the last 4 years than Stipe. So I don't know. It's just kind of a joke that Tom Aspinall's not fighting for this title. So I mean, if Tom Aspinall is going to defend his belt in July against Curtis Blades, Cyril Gahn, whoever, like that's the champion to me.
Hmm.
Whatever John Jones does, like it's irrelevant to me. Like he's not the champ anymore at that point. Like
Yeah, exactly. If you're the champ, you fight the interim champ. And well, to me, he hadn't fought in, oh God, when did he beat Cyril Gahn? Seems like it's been close to
I,
a year.
I think March 2023,
Yes.
285.
So just a little over a year ago, and you haven't fought. And I know he got injured, but like, how are you gonna be the champ, get injured, and not fight? Which is fine. It happens. It's the reason why the interim title became a thing. But how are you gonna do that and then remain inactive for this long, and then come back against a guy who hadn't fought in 3 years?
Who got iced
And
bad like his last time out too.
yeah, exactly. Now, like, let's be honest here. I will say this: everybody, especially considering their heavyweights, all these people, even before the cancellation and all of that, when this first became a thing, before Tom Aspinall became an interim champ, oh, John Jones is gonna run right through Stipe, and he's gonna make it look easy. Look what he did to Cyril Gahn. Personally, I thought that was a horrible take. I know he's coming off of a long layoff, but John Jones doesn't have power. I don't
Yeah,
think he has power. And I might catch hate for this, but like, he didn't look good on the feet against Cyril Gahn. He looked slow. He looked sluggish. And heavyweights, their peak window, if you will, is longer than the smaller weight classes. The inactivity for Stipe worries me. I would probably at this point lean John Jones to win, but with the odds, I mean, I had a crazy parlay I'd put together, like this insane parlay, and I think two fighters cost it for me. Colby Covington against Leon Edwards. I mean,
okay.
it was an insane parlay. It was like a $10 parlay that would have cashed out. Well, there were some cancellations like Stipe and Jones, and then the no contest with Johnny Walker and Magomed Ankalaev. So those kind of brought the odds down. But like, if it at the initial number I got, I think $10 was going to get me like 1,200 or something like that. It was a massive parlay. But anyway, I got way off there. I just don't think it's as cut and dry. Like, I think John Jones could probably get Stipe down, but I just don't know how successful he would really be. Like, honestly, I know people are confident in that fight, but I mean, if Stipe came out there and knocked John Jones out or stuffed takedowns and just landed bigger shots, because I can guarantee you with the hands, he will land the bigger shots.
Yeah,
It
he's
just
way better
depends.
boxer.
Yeah, way better.
On his peak, like of course.
Yeah. But even still, I think he's still, the first thing that goes is speed. So that does concern me. But like, people acting like this is just some easy night at the office guaranteed win for John Jones. I mean, maybe I could look really stupid. once they fight, and John Jones could go out there and sub him in the first round or just blow him away with elbows on the ground. It could have happened. But I will stand on the hill that I don't think that that fight goes down as smoothly for John Jones as many people would think or are thinking. It's just crazy to me how so many people think that that's just, yeah, I don't even need to think about it. Jones.
So, I mean, the way I would envision the fight going is honestly a fairly lackluster decision for Jones, where he just does more on the outside, just pokes with the jab, leg kicks. Like he has a pretty diverse kicking game, so I just think he would just poke him with kicks and just win that way. Like you said, he doesn't have punching power. The only way he really hurts people is with like elbows, knees, kicks. So unless you did something like caught him with a big kick, that's really the only way he would finish Stipe. But yeah, it's really not an interesting fight to me. Like,
Yeah, at this point, I don't need to see it. I really don't. Like, and I know Dana sees it as money, and then what's crazy is John Jones goes out there and wins, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, dude, look what he did to the heavyweight goat." I want to see. I mean, I'm not a John Jones fan. I just don't like his behavior outside the cage, and I don't like that he's a cheat. And it's crazy. You go watch like his early fights, and then like all the stuff like in the Shale Sun and build up where they were talking to Joe Rogan before their fight, side cage for I don't remember what event it was. Well, obviously a long time ago. He was so much more humble and seems so much more level headed even at that moment. And I get like you've proven yourself, but like he seems to not be like if that John Jones had stayed consistent and personality wise, he was that same guy, I would 100% be all in as a fan.
so it's a
But I
funny bringing
just
it up is because like back then there were even like rumors and like on like the underground threads and stuff, people would be saying like John Jones is like a dickhead behind the scenes and he's not really this like humble guy that he like portrays. And I remember there's like the clip after I think it's after he choked out Machida, his coach Greg Jackson's like, "Go shake his hand, John. Like it's like go get some fans because like it just like looks like the humble thing to do to like shake his hand or whatever." When he really like it didn't come to his head naturally.
and I mean, hindsight being 2020 and seeing where he's at now, I mean, that's not wouldn't be shocking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't be out of the equation. Um, Let me ask you this. What Steve Airseg versus Pantoja, where were you standing on that one, scorecard wise?
So I scored it for Pantoja. Yeah, I had it for Pantoja 1, 3, and 5, I believe. If I only watched the fight once though, but live I was under the impression that Pantoja would probably be walking away with the scorecard. But I mean, the way I kind of score fights is like I knew Pantoja won rounds 1 and 5. Like I knew that. So I had two like rounds banked for Pantoja. And then Usyk had one clear round. I think it was round 4 that like he definitely won. I forget exactly, but I know one of those middle rounds Usyk clearly won. So then there was like 2 coin flip rounds. So I just had 2-1, and then 2 coin flips. One they're likely going to go to Pantoja, at least one of them. So he'll win the fight that way. That's how I was like looking at it.
I think it
I
was
don't
like
know if I articulated that well at all.
no, I think you had it right. I want to say it was 1 and 5 were definitely Pantoja. 2 and 4, man, and I feel bad saying this because I need to rewatch it. I want to, and I want to say that 2 and 4 were clear for Airsig. I think the second round is where he hit him with a pretty big elbow and got him cut,
Okay.
and then third round is your like toss up round. Even though there's some people that had it 4-1 for Pantoja, I personally didn't see that, but some people clearly did, which is crazy to me. But
Yeah. I would
I
have been
thought
fine with it going 3-2 either way, but I was expecting Pantoja to get the decision, just the way my head works.
now I will say that Airsig, he definitely showed out. I had wondered if that was a possibility when the fight in the episode where Christian and I broke that fight down. We I went in when that fight first got announced thinking Pantoja all day, and then I heard people say, no, Irseg's a lot better than we're giving him credit for it, and I did a deep dive on his tape, and I was like, man, I'm still going to ride Pantoja, but this dude's pretty damn good,
He's
and
legit.
I mean, he's pretty damn good. He's going to be a problem for a lot of guys at that weight class, and I don't know how much longer we're going to have Champ Pantoja around for. I don't know how many more he's got. I mean, to me, like, let me ask you this: where in the pedestal of flyweights, where do you have him? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer who's number one, right? It's
Like
Mighty
all time.
Mouse. But yeah. If you're breaking down the top flyweights,
So I mean, obviously Demetrius is one.
100%.
If we can go like outside the UFC, I think Koji Horiguchi is probably two. And then, I mean, he had a brief stint in the UFC, but he made his legacy outside of it. And then it's such a young division. I guess it's kind of like there's those two. Then like the next tier, I mean, Pantoja has the most title defenses, but I would say like Figgy, like in his prime, is a better fighter. So it's just like kind of weird. Like I don't know. Like, are you asking like who's the better fighter? Who has the better legacy?
So it's funny you say that. So like, I have a personal difference that I like to make very clear, and the difference between greatest and best, right?
Yeah.
Now I may catch, some people will argue till they're, blue in the face with me, and I'll fight this back. Well, Habib isn't one of the all-time greats because he had what, 1, 2, 3 title defenses.
He's taken over all time though to beat him. Like,
right, but like, so to me, like, trying to think of a good example. Okay, here we go. Welterweight. Usman versus GSP argument, right? Who was the greatest and who is the best? Well, if people go, oh God, I could go on about this forever. So there's a lot of things. And then the same thing with the Aldo versus Volkanovski or Holloway argument, where I always fight back on these, right? So those Aldo versus Volk versus Holloway argument, GSP versus Usman argument, the two that really stand out, and those are the weight classes this really rings true. It took, in that era of Aldo and GSP, it took way less fights to get to a title than it did for the other three mentioned. Okay, and then it definitely did. Like, look at, Aldo came in from WEC.
yeah, he was like
automatically.
yeah.
Right. But like, look at GSP, what he had to do to get a title shot, right? And look, and here's another one. Here's an interesting one. Habib beat RDA. Okay, I'd have to look at the exact date. A lot of people don't realize this, but this is an interesting one. Habib beat RDA. Habib never lost in the UFC. He beat RDA. Guess who got a title shot before? Who got a title shot first? RDA.
Yeah, he ragged RDA. I'd imagine I forget the exact timeline, but Habib was super injury prone for like a 2-3 year period. He kept getting hurt. Can never put together the momentum.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's part of it, but it's just crazy because, like I said, he ragdolled RDA, and RDA got. I mean, there was two more champs. There was RDA became champ, and then Eddie and then Connor. So you had 3 champs, if you include RDA, after that fight, right? And it wasn't until later that, and then I guess you count Tony Ferguson, right? But or as interim. But what I'm saying is it was so much more difficult. Like, Usman took him 10 fights to get to a title. And I know, Styles, these guys weren't the most exciting. I get all that. But like, I think that there's so much to be said as far as greatest to me is accolades. Like, there's no denying GSP had more title defenses than Usman. This, that, the other. And the same for Aldo versus Max and Aldo versus Volk. But level of competition is a thing and dominance is a thing. Like, to me, I know Khabib only had 3 title defenses. So he's like not really in the running to be like top 5 greatest of all time. I know some people might argue that. But if you were to ask me best, like talent level and dominance, I don't know. Some people would call me crazy, but I think Khabib's the best. Lost 2 rounds. And I know, Gleason T-Bow, this, that, the other. Okay. But still, I mean, he won. Like
Yeah,
Khabib didn't get beat up. I can tell you. I mean, John Jones. Like, I mean, no disrespect, the dude had multiple fights that were tough fights.
yeah. I mean, I thought Reyes beat him.
Yeah, I did too. I
Like
did
a lot
too.
of people say Gustafsson beat him. I scored that fight for Jones, but the
Yeah.
one I do score against him is Reyes. Like,
And what's crazy is the only one that he's had that actually went to split decision. The only one is the Thiago Santos one.
yeah,
Reyes and Gus one were both unanimous for Jones. Santos is the only one that was a split, which that was a very close fight as well.
I was there live for the Santos Jones one. I was up in the bleachers for that. Never
Really,
watched it. Yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah.
yeah. That's the most fun I've ever had watching a card. I mentioned it earlier. I was in Bangkok um, with my cousins, an opposite time zone, and I just love this. We went to they have UFC breakfast because like if
You
it's
told this story right, and the place was something
yeah.
happened like the
Yeah, you saw the
yeah,
episode, yeah, and those Aussies, "To the sportsman,"
yeah.
and we take off running. It was dude, that's the most fun I've ever had watching a card. It was an absolute blast. And that was such a great card. Like, if you were to ask me, like, holy grail pieces, fight worn stuff, what one that would be way up there for me is Jan Blachowicz, shorts or gloves from the
The
Rockhold
Rock.
knockout. Yeah, 100%.
That's a good shout.
And another one that I would love to have is, gloves or shorts from when he knocked out Corey Anderson.
That's an epic knockout too.
Yeah, and I mm, never could get the Corey Anderson thing out of my head, and the Johnny Walker one, when Johnny Walker didn't even say anything, and he's all, "There's levels to this,"
Yeah, he's a sore winner.
dude, like, okay, yeah, you won, but, like, you're getting in Johnny Walker's face. What did Johnny Walker do to you?
I know
Like,
he's
you're
just
mad at him for what the fans were saying, like, get over yourself. Yeah, he lost me on that one, and so one of my favorite knockouts is the Corey Anderson or Jan Blachowicz over Corey Anderson.
something that drives me crazy, and this definitely applies to Corey Anderson, is when fighters and other organizations are always mouthing off about how they're the best. Like, dude, Corey Anderson, like, we saw your UFC run. Like, you're not the best. I hate to say it. You're not.
I mean, you
And
got knocked out by a guy who was champ not long thereafter. He was the next champ.
yeah,
Jones vacated after that. So, yeah, yeah, Corey Anderson, that dude. Yeah, I
he's
could.
an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of knockouts, and then we can jump into this little game. But speaking of knockouts, like eh, like if you could narrow it down somewhat. I know you mentioned one earlier, but like what is your top 5 knockouts?
Ooh, top
If
5 knockouts.
mhm, if you can do it, and it doesn't even have to be like in perfect order too. I mean,
Yeah,
because this
I
would
mean,
be hard for me to do as
just
well.
some that come right to my mind. Sandhagen Edgar, because Sandhagen's like my favorite fighter, as I mentioned, and just such a dynamic knee that he landed, and just the way Edgar face plants forward frozen. That's just such that's like the most aesthetically pleasing flying knee knockout to me. And then I mean, Gagey Holloway, I was there, so like I have to have that one up there.
I for-
Barboza, Edom.
yeah, I forgot not to interrupt. I forgot that you were at 300, dude.
Dude,
I found videos on my phone today from at the bar watching 300, filming the replay of the Holloway one to send it to people, and people are yelling. I'm yelling like, "Oh my god, he lured him in," and I'm losing my mind. Like, I was like, "He took the bait. He took the bait." Anyway, I'm sorry. I just had to pat you on the back for being there because God, that's one of the greatest, if not the greatest card of all time. That one was fantastic. But yeah, so those two, Edom and Barboza, and what other ones you got? You can throw 3 out there if
Reyes
you pick.
Prochaska. That's one of my favorite. Yuri knocking out Reyes with the spinning elbow. Like, that's an epic one. Shit. Put me on the spot here. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. I'll name I can name a couple while you're thinking of
Yeah.
one or two more. So like one of mine, you said Sandhagen and Edgar. because of bias. So I've got to throw one for bias for me is Dustin Poirier over Connor 2.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's just because I'm a McGregor hater to a certain extent, and Dustin Poirier is my favorite fighter. And to see him written off, see him lose the first round, and then come back, and it was also just beautiful when he had hurt the leg and Connor swung, and he kind of did I guess, yeah, it was like a check right that he did. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, they think that it's just the leg kick that kind of makes Connor stumble because of the way the broadcast camera was. You see Connor throw and he kind of stumbles, but if you watch it slow, you see Dustin hit him with a hand, and that is when they rotate positions. And then the next shot is when it really rings the bell, and everybody's, oh my God, he's hurt, he's hurt, he's hurt. But I think what people miss is he was hurt before that. It was the strike right before that caused the positional shift of who was in the driver's seat. What's the word I'm looking for? Being the forward pushing pressure fighter. And so Connor was actually hurt then, and Dustin could see it. You can see it if you look for it.
Is that where like he like kind of points at him too? Like,
that was right after that. Connor slipped one and he hit him with one, and he went like this. Yeah. Or no, now that you say that, no, God,
I haven't watched that fight in a little while, but that dude, that's like one of the most gratifying wins for me.
Yes,
yes. I want Dustin there as like a huge underdog.
And yeah, that one's up there. Rakic and Manawa is definitely up there.
Talk about that one. I got a couple. So like one of the reasons why I love MMA, it's just like such a goofy, dumb sport. Like, it just cracks me up. And Jordan Levin and Matt Wyman. Have you seen that fight?
That's the slam, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like
Levin, the dirty dancing where his coach catches him.
Talks to his corner. The corner's like, bring him over here. He's like, all right, coach. Walks him all the way over and just slams him down. And Matt Wyman's like 41 years old, and he's just like stiff as a board. And then he's like twerking and doing like splits and stuff. Like, that one's up there for me just because of how goofy it is. And then Namajunas Andrade. Love that slam KO. That one's up there for me.
Yeah, those are the Namajunas and Andrade one I sometimes forget about. That's a
yeah, just how shocking a whole, like, because Andrade arguably got like 10-8 at round one. Like, she was getting lit up. Mm-hmm. It probably was a 10-9, but like it was as close to a 10-8 as it could really be without there being like a huge like drop or anything like that, a huge knockdown. Rather.
Yeah, that one I had picked Andrade going into it. My buddy Wes was like, "You're taking it," and I like, this would have been, I think that card was in May of 2019, so I had just started really paying attention for like 5 months, right? And I was doing a lot of tape study then because I was obsessed, right, and just trying to really get into it. And I said, "I'm picking Jessica Andrade," and my boy Wes is like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't know, dude. I think she's gonna knock her out." And he's like, "I don't think so." That first round happens. He's hitting me and heckling me, and he's like, "This one's backfiring on you." And I was like, "Yeah, it kind of looks like that." And then, boom, it happens.
Pretty much the same exact thing happened to me watching that fight with my buddies.
Heckling you, saying, "Oh, yeah, that was a terrible pick." Yeah.
Especially because Joanne is my favorite fighter, and obviously like Joanne and Rose, so like they're extra heckling me about like Rose, like she's gonna have the belt forever. And then a couple of minutes later, she didn't have the belt anymore.
Yeah, that one's hard to watch. That one hurts me watching it. Just seeing the neck at that angle is
rough, dude.
Pretty horrendous. I'm trying to think, man, like top 5, it's really, really, really hard for me to narrow it down. Josh Emmett versus Ricardo Lamas is a great one.
Okay, I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna say Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell.
No, that one's that one's pretty good too. Josh Emmett has some knockouts. Michael Johnson one was really bad. I'll tell you one that was.
You ever see Dos Anjos versus Jeremy Stevens, the giant like bus driver uppercut he throws?
Yeah, I have, and it's been a long time because I went back and watched a bunch of old fights after I got introduced to the sport. Like right afterwards, I got a UFC Fight Pass and went and watched Anderson Silva's entire run, starting with like as far back as I could find, like Pride. There's one of my favorite knockouts of all time right there. I think it was in like Cage Rage whereas the Tony Strickland knockout where he did the 6-12
Yeah,
elbow.
the like up elbow.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite knockouts of all time.
Then
It's
there's the
one.
Vitor Belfort front kick, of course. Like that has to be mentioned in the greatest knockouts of all time. Like once we start saying fighters, it's like, oh yeah, there's another like one of the greatest knockouts ever.
Yeah, that one. That one, yeah. The Tony Strickland one is up there for me because it's just wild. Oh, there you go. Speaking of elbows, Yair Rodriguez
Zombie.
versus Chan Sung Jung, Korean
Yeah.
Zombie. That one is like one of those ones you kind of have to do a double take. Like I've shown that to people that are not fight fans, and then all of a sudden he slumps over and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, like if you watch it in normal speed for the first time, you would not. You'd be like, "What do you get hit with?" Like, it
Yeah, yeah. It's hard for me to narrow it down to a top five.
really is, dude. It's so hard.
You got a top 3 favorite fights of all time? That's just as hard.
Yeah, not off the top of my head, honestly. Um, let me think. Let me think. Let me just think of like some underrated bangers. Burgos Cater. You ever see that fight?
Yeah.
Burgos Emmett. That's another one. Onama
Oh, yeah.
Landwehr.
That's a great one.
Um, Costa Rockhold. That's one of my favorite fights, just because of how funny and goofy it is. Like Costa rubbing the blood on him in the last minute, and they're just both so gassed to shit within like 2 minutes.
Yeah, dude, that one was very gross to watch.
Pretty much any Yuri fight is one of my favorites. So, Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney, because I had a very large wager on Drew Dober, and then within the first like 10 seconds, like McKinney nails him with that knee. I'm like, oh my god, like
Sweating.
McKinney's like, I'm never been this guy again, and then he pulled it out, and McChinney was born, getting knocked out in the UFC.
Dude, how about Esteban Ribovics the other night?
Yeah.
What?
So I do this like fantasy MMA league, and I have Esteban Ribovics on my team, so I was going wild for that.
Yeah, he's good, but it was funny. Me and my buddy were talking when that fight started. I said, McKinney's really good, but he slows down like drastically. I said, he's got a ton of power. And like right when I said that, bink.
Yep.
That was, yeah, that one. And I picked Ribovics. I like Ribovics, but I like McKinney too. But yeah, that one was wild. When you mentioned Yuri.
Yeah, any Yuri fight like is one of my favorites.
One of my favorite fights of all time. Like like right off the top of my head, right? And I'm trying to pick stuff from different fighters, and I'm thinking of stuff that I've watched live, since my time. We can go back to pre me watching the sport because I went back and watched so many fights. Like Henderson versus Shogun is an all-time classic. Both of them were really good. And then Bigfoot Silva versus Mark Hunt is way up there. Those are great. Yeah. But like in my time since watching, there's so many that like really stick out. Fight? That's one of them. Is and it's because it's two of my favorite fighters. It's him versus Max Holloway. That's up there. Him versus Hook. Man, Dustin's been in so many great fights.
Him versus Agee.
Yeah.
Both Alvarez fights, or you can go.
The Dan Hooker one might be the most wild one. Those first couple.
That was like one of the first Apex fights. That was like the first like really brutal Apex fight. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one was bloody, and then earlier in the night that was bloody was Brendan Allen versus Kyle Dawkins. But yeah, I would say either Hooker versus Poirier or Max versus Poirier 2. I should make that clear. 2. Yeah. And then Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman 1. That's one. Me and my cousin will watch fights, or we'll go somewhere and hang out, like go, just on a Friday night, hang out or whatever. And we usually end up back at my house, and we'll either watch, videos of, music videos, live performance, stuff like that, or we'll do fight reruns, or sometimes we just hang out at the house and do fight reruns and then move to the music. And we were talking about the next two that are on the list, the Covington and Usman 1, and then Jiri versus Glover Teixeira. We were both talking how, like, if we could go back and rewatch a fight for the first time, like not going back or not knowing what we were getting into, those two were I mean, I know everybody talks about Gus versus Jones. One is the greatest 205-pound fight of all time, and it probably is. But dang, dude, Yuri versus Glover Teixeira is
Dude, the
that's
momentum shifts in that fight are just wild. Like,
and
and that's when you gotta like the first time you watch it live is like it's just insane. It's like you, oh dude, just every like
yeah,
2 minutes, like you think this guy's about to finish the other guy, like has him right where he wants him, and the momentum just somehow flips. Like Yuri took himself down, I think like 6 times.
yeah, and it's like it's that fight has one of my what if moments, right? Two. It's one of two of my biggest what if moments in this sport since I started watching. And it is, what if Glover hadn't went for a guillotine in the 5th round after rocking him? And
Yeah,
he pulled guard. Yeah, he pulled guard too. So, and Glover's even said, man, what was I thinking? So you often wonder, what would the state of the 205-pound division be like if that hadn't happened? And then my other number two what if moment is, what if Jan had not kneed Aljamain Sterling in the face? Or what if the judges hadn't given it to Sterling because of the knee and they did what they should have done, which was deduct a point and go to the scorecards? That's a whole different story for a different day.
yeah,
But it's definitely a what if, because Piotr came in thinking he was going to kill. I mean, he looked fantastic against Sandhagen. Came in with no respect for Sterling. It ended up backfiring on him. And then it was almost like he couldn't mentally recover. I'm really curious to see who he fights next and how he fights next. Who do you think he's gonna fight next? I've got a pretty
Cheeto.
decent idea. Cheeto?
Yeah, I think it'll be Cheeto because they're like two of the bigger names in the division, and I think it'll kind of be like shit or get off the pot. Like whoever wins will have a chance to fight for the title again. Whoever loses will probably get like relegated back to the back of the line.
Yeah, I think the 4 fighters in that weight class that you could call are in a let's call it a roundabout. These 4 guys meet up in the middle, and any matchup could be made right across the board. Is him, as in Piotr Jan, Cheeto, and then Henry Cejudo and Davison Figueiredo.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
more so this. I don't see Cejudo fighting Jan. I think Jan would fight Cheeto or Figueiredo, and Cejudo would fight whichever one that Jan doesn't fight. I think it's like a round robin, if you will. Or no, that's not even. I
You
don't
froze
even
for a second.
do what. What'd you say?
It froze for a second, but I think I got the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah. It'd be like basically. What was the last thing you heard me say?
You don't think somebody would fight somebody? I
Okay,
forget.
I don't think Cejudo and Jan will fight, at least next.
Okay.
I don't think those two will fight. I think one will fight Cheeto and the other one will fight Figueiredo, or vice versa.
So the problem with Cheeto and Figueiredo, like, or not Cheeto, Figueiredo and Cejudo, like train together.
Oh, that's right.
So that's like a built-in excuse to never fight.
Okay. Well, then it would have to be, and I would be okay with that because you got those two, and then you've got 2 all-time great 125ers up a weight class.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. That would be a good possibility. But I think, okay, I'll side with you on that. But and I think that Jan, that one's interesting because they're both slow starters. But I think Jan probably starts a little quicker. I mean, I would definitely take Jan there. I think Jan's way better.
Jan's way better than Cheeto.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's a top like contender. Like pretty much any contender I pick over him pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think at this point it's kind of the cards have been shown. But anyway, well, do you want to jump into this little quiz game?
Yeah, let's do it.
So just reiterating, last was it last episode? Yeah, last episode, Christian and I did a little game where Christian pulled up 5 events, picked a few fights off of those 5 events, and threw them at me to see if I could guess which event it was. Joe's got a really good memory, if we couldn't tell that by talking to him today. So we're going to do it to each other. We both got cards pulled up on to the side. We're going to take turns naming a couple fights off of there. And yeah, we'll see how we go. So Joe, do you want to start us off?
As in, I'll read you off like my fight.
Yeah, or I mean, I can start too. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's go. So the early prelim on this event was Sabina, or I'm sorry, the early prelim on this fight was Terrence McKinney versus Matt Frivola.
That's the fastest debut knockout of all time.
Yep.
Is it a pay-per-view card? That's one of
I
those.
only did pay-per-views, yeah.
Oh, you only did pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I convince you to give me the year?
I don't have the date on my list, so
It's
no.
okay. It's okay. God. And that was an early prelim.
Yep.
Oh, you might have got me. Do you have the whole card or did you just pick 3 fights?
I picked 3 fights.
Oh, okay.
So you want me to go up like to the next prelim, the next stage?
Yeah, definitely.
Brad Riddell versus Drew Dober.
Oh God. I can't remember the event number, but it was Vittori versus Adesanya too.
Yep. Exactly.
That's a great fight right there, dude. Not Vittori Adesanya, but
Yeah,
Riddell and Dober. I was actually going to mention that one earlier when you mentioned Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney. Yeah, I was gonna mention that one earlier.
Yeah, dude, Brad Riddell, dude, that's like probably one of my like. I thought he was really going to be like a top contender, but I feel like the sport just burned him out too early.
Do you have the Riddell jersey or the Fiziev jersey from that fight?
I had the Fiziev.
And somebody else in the group has the Riddell jersey, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember who it is, but somebody has it, and I think it's an Aussie that has it.
Yeah, I thought Riddell was going to beat Fiziev.
You did? Yeah, that one.
I was very wrong.
I can remember where I was watching that fight. I was in a hotel bar in Morgan City, Louisiana, with some sketchy characters. In fact, I want to say this. This is hilarious. So the bartender girl, she was something else. She's from Louisiana. She's from Morgan City, which half of my entire dad's side is. So there's nothing wrong with being from Louisiana. Big Dustin Poirier fan, partially for that reason. But she started playing music, and that card was on regular ESPN, so it was on cable. So I went into the bar because I got tired. I was working there a lot. I got tired of being in my room watching fights. I said, "Well, hell, I'm going to go to the hotel bar." Hey, put it on, okay. So she started playing music. I don't listen to hip hop at all, but she started playing something, and I was like, "God bless, this is horrendous." And I had no filter, and I was like, "What the hell are you listening to? This is trash." And she's like, "This is Boozy." And I was like, "Who?" She goes, "Boozy, man." And I was like, "Bad Boozy?" And she's like, yeah, and starts going on about how he's a badass. And I was like, "Bro, this guy sounds like an idiot. Like, he sounds like a gremlin." And she's like, "You watching these fights, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "He whoop all these guys' asses. He's killed somebody before." And I was like, "Hold on. Pause. You're saying he could beat one of these guys in a fist fight because he's allegedly killed some before?" Yeah. And it was Aldo and Font on the screen. And I was like, "I don't know how big this guy is, but I'd be willing to bet you both of those guys would beat his ass in a matter of seconds, especially if he's anywhere close to their size." I was like, "Please stop while you're ahead." She goes, "Well, they're fighting in a cage and all this, and they're this." And I was like, "That's what they do for a living, sweetheart." Like, anyway, I always think of that when I think of the Fiziev and Riddell fight because I was in the bar watching that. Anyway, okay. So I did 3 pay-per-views and 2 fight nights.
That's
so
fine.
I'm gonna do I'll do a pay-per-view to even the odds. Okay. So early prelim. Alex Perez defeats Jussier Formiga in the first round with leg kick TKO.
That's Kevin Lee and Charles Oliveira?
Nah, pay-per-view.
Oh, it's pay-per-view. Shit. Go to the next part.
Okay, so there's that one. I can give you another early prelim, or do you want to go straight to prelims?
You can give me whatever you prefer.
I mean, I can give you a few. I got the whole card pulled up.
Okay.
How about I mean, this might not help, but we'll see. Devin Clark versus Alonzo Minifield was the fight right prior to that, and Devin Clark won by decision.
Doesn't help yet.
Okay. Main fight on the prelims. Alex Caceres defeated Chase Hooper.
Could it be Nunes versus Megan Anderson?
You're close. I'll give you a main card. I'll give you one.
Okay.
Oh god, the main card is gonna make it. Since you're so close, I'll give you a main card one that should probably ring the bell the most. Corey Sandhagen versus Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, Megan Anderson was the main event of that card.
Mm-mm.
What the hell?
You're right on it. You're so close. UFC 250.
So Nunes was the co-main?
I don't know.
Or she
Was she?
wasn't.
I'll give you another main card. Sean O'Malley, Eddie Wineland.
Yeah, I know Eddie Wineland and Garbrandt. Sunsal's on this card. Like, dude, in my mind, Nunes was mine.
Nunes, do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me.
So Nunes was in the main event, but it was not Megan.
Oh, Lisa Spencer.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. You were so close. You were so close.
Damn, I just mixed up the Nunes fights.
Dude, some people forget that she fought Felicia Spencer because that was kind of hard to watch.
Yeah, damn. Not a good start. I'm 0 for 1.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So hit me. What you got?
All right, so we got Sabina Mazo versus Shauna Dobson as an early prelim.
Oh wow, I can already tell you. Let's go to the next one. That one, whew. Yeah. I know who they are. Shauna Dobson was the one who pulled off, from a numbers perspective, one of the biggest upsets of all time against Maria Agapova. But anyway, Go ahead.
Comma Worthy knocking out Devontae Smith.
This is pay-per-view?
Yep.
Good God. Okay.
Pretty good pay-per-view as well.
Really?
Yep. I'll give you another
deep cuts. Another prelim?
Yep.
Okay.
Casey Kenny defeated Manny Bermudez, the Triangle dude. You remember him?
Oh, I know which card this was. Yeah. UFC 242, Habib versus Poirier.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, I'm an idiot. No, it's not. I know which one it is. It's Cormier versus Miocic 2.
Yep. The final one I was going to give you was the Costa fight because I know you have the piece. Yeah.
I actually just sold that.
Oh, did you really? Damn.
Sold that one in the Machida walkout to the same guy, actually. Finally. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, I knew it was. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings. It's like weird things. I remember where I was.
That's how I remember them. So
and yeah, as soon as you said no, I was like, okay, I remember where I was sitting now. And it's like comment interactions on Facebook regarding fights. Yeah, it's weird. My mind's weird. All right, so let me look here. Hold on a second.
And I'm getting like the full cards up too. Well, so
yeah, that definitely would help. All right, I've got one for you. It's a fight night. Okay.
Is it an Apex fight night or a?
No.
Okay.
It's not. This one, I'm not gonna say much. Okay. So interesting. So there wasn't. Okay. So since it's a fight night, this one, for some reason, did not have an early prelims. I wonder why.
Probably cancellations or something.
Yeah, it's literally. Yeah, is this? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Let's see. Okay, prelim. Davison Figueiredo versus Tim Elliott.
Joanna versus Watterson.
Yeah. That's why I handpicked this one. You remember that card pretty well?
I had very good seats for
Really?
yeah.
Really? Yeah. I handpicked. I was like, I gotta pick a fight night. And I was like, this one, give him one that I feel like should be a relative layup. And yeah, clearly it was.
Yeah.
So
Dude, that card was actually like really stacked for a fight night. Like James Vick got upkicked, KO'd by Nico Price. That was absolutely
oh yeah, it
hilarious.
was on that one.
I should have put that on my favorite KOs. Ryan Spann was on that card.
Yeah.
Vittori was on that card.
Who did Ryan Spann fight? Do you remember? He won by guillotine in the second round.
I don't remember exactly. Was
Devin
it Devin
Clark.
Clark?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Who did Vittori fight? Let's see if you can figure this one out. Decision.
Andrew
Shock.
Sanchez, right?
Yep. Yep. You're right. You're right. Yeah, the main that main fight between Joanna and Watterson was actually that was a fantastic fight.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
That's one of my favorite cards I ever went to, actually. Like that was just like non-pay-per-view, so that was just super deep.
Yeah,
Who else
that
was on
one's
this card?
this one was fun to watch. Cub Swanson versus Crone Gracie.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And then like Amanda Hebus versus Mackenzie Dern. Matt Frivola versus Violent Bob Ross. And
Dude, Mike Davis versus Thomas Gifford. That was brutal. That was one of the hardest to watch fights I ever watched.
yeah, I don't remember that one. I remember,
Dude, Bisping was like screaming for the fight to be stopped from cage side. Dude, like this shit was hard to watch.
all right,
Like,
well then
Mike
I'm gonna
Davis put a fucking beat down on this guy, dude. Like, and his dad was in the corner and stuff, dude. Oh my god. Like, yeah, Gifford's dad was in the corner. It was ugly. Cheeto Bear was on that card.
wait. What weight class was that at?
55, I believe. And Gifford,
Did
he's
Gifford
like,
have blonde hair?
yeah, like long blonde hair, like
I do.
lanky, like Skeletor looking dude. Like, dude, he had no business being
Yeah,
in the cage with a guy like,
I remember that one. That one was horrible.
yeah.
I think about that fight occasionally. I can just never remember the names. Yeah, that one. Yes, I
And
remember.
dude, like, finally, in the last like 30 seconds to a minute, he finally got KO'd. And Bisping's like, "Are you happy now?" Like, like that's his commentary.
15 seconds before the end of the fight.
Is that what it
4:45
was?
marker of the third. Yep.
Okay, yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty bad. All right, so hit me with another one.
All right, so we got JSP Jonathan Pierce defeating Omar Morales by submission.
You said it's a pay-per-view?
Yep. I'll give you another early prelim.
Yeah.
Jalen Turner submits Euros Medic.
Oh, yeah. This is it's like UFC 250 something, I believe. It's one of the Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor cards. I'm next to positive.
Nope. I'll go further up.
Wait. If it's not, is it? Do you have the date? Is it in December?
Not in December. I'll give you another fight on it.
Yeah.
Dawkins KO'd Shamil Abrakhimov.
Volkanovski versus Ortega.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I knew that. I remember the Medic one, and that was the one that was bothering me because I was in my garage watching it. So I'm just sitting here trying to think of the pay-per-views I watched here at the house. Had a little party, so that was one of them. Okay, so let's see here. All right, I got a pay-per-view for you. I'm going to give you the very first fight of the night. Punahele Soriano in his debut against Oscar Piechota in his final UFC fight. Very, very first fight of the night. Ended in the first round. 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Beat down.
Go up the card.
That one might give it away because there's another early prelim on there.
You can make it hard.
How about okay, we'll just go to a regular prelim. This card was great. This is the best card I've ever had pick wise. Omari Akhmedov versus Ian Heinisch.
It's not Cerrone McGregor, is it?
It was in that time frame. You're very, very close. It was a little bit before that.
All right, give me another one.
I'll do
Usman Covington.
Say that again.
Usman Covington.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's it. Because the one that I was gonna pick, there was an early prelim, but I was like, this might give it away. It was Moreno versus KKF.
That wouldn't have clicked for me.
Really?
Actually.
No.
Nah.
Yeah,
nah. It was the Puna one that I knew that was his debut, and I knew it was like right around that time. So I was like trying to think.
Yeah, because I was looking at the main card right before you said that, and I was like, damn, all of these will give it away because there's 3 title fights, and then Jan. I mean, at least for me, Faber and Jan. Faber and Jan, Marias and Aldo.
Yeah.
Neal and Perry. Ben Saunders fought Matt Brown. Yeah. That was a good card. So hit me with what would this be, number 4, right?
Yep.
So hit me.
Jan Jeannin versus Angela Hill.
I remember this fight too. Give me another one.
All right. Calvin Kattar KOing Ricardo Lamas. Super sweet KO.
The only Kattar pay-per-view I remember was the one where, like specifically remember being on a pay-per-view was the elbow against
Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, which I think that was the first COVID pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. All right, I'll go up another one. Alexa Grasso defeats Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
God bless. Yeah, this one's killing me.
All right, I'll go up one more.
Yeah.
Aljamain Sterling defeats Pedro Munoz. We're still in the prelims. This was
Cejudo versus Marias.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, that one I definitely remembered. Okay, so I've got 2 more for you. So let's see. I'm gonna do a fight night. Try to stump you.
That works.
I think. Yeah, we'll do that.
If it's an Apex, it probably will. If it's a crowd, I was gonna say that'd be a brutal test to try and do Apex.
Yeah, it's a crowd. Okay, so we'll start with a relatively easy. It's an early fight. Merab Dvalishvili defeats Casey Kinney by decision.
Oof.
Well, one of the scorecards, by the way, was a 30-25.
Okay, go up the card.
How about let's stay on the prelims. John Dodson versus Nathaniel Wood. This one might stump you pretty good.
Yeah, like I remember watching these fights. I know where I was, so I'm getting like the time frame. I just don't know what the main event would be yet. Keep going.
Brock Weaver versus Kazula Vargas.
Oh God.
This is main card now.
Anthony Smith and Glover?
No. That was post COVID, so no. I'll give you the co-main event.
Okay.
Diego Sanchez defeats Michel Pereira.
Oh my God. You got me. I don't want to waste time trying to think. I'm not going to.
We just talked about it. Jan Blachowicz versus Corey Anderson too.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, that one's a deep cut. That one was kind of cold-blooded on my part, but
I appreciate the challenge.
Yeah, that one's. I would remember that one for a couple of reasons, but yeah, I got you on one. All right, hit me with. I think this will be. I think we've each got one more.
Yep.
Right. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So go for it.
All right. Giga Chikazi defeats Jamal Emmers by split decision.
Yeah, go up one.
Jared Mearshart submits Duran Win.
One more up.
All right, I'll skip up a little bit. Sean O'Malley defeats Jose Quinones.
This was Izzy Romero, wasn't it?
Yep. Got it.
Yeah. I remember that one very, very well. That was right before the world got shut down. And greatest female fight, one of the greatest of it.
Yeah, just
regardless. Anything. That's a classic. And then, round one of Romero versus Izzy. Oh, they're just feeling each other out. This is guaranteed to be a banger. Round two. Oh, they're just feeling each other out.
Yeah, I was at that fight too because I was at a lot of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was at a lot of Joanna fights, and then during the main event, the crowd was chanting, like some of the crowd was chanting, like "Bring back the girls."
Yeah, I think I kind of remember like them mentioning that on the broadcast.
Heard, but it was funny.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to give you two options. Do you want relatively recently? I mean, this is all within the past 5 years or so. I mean, okay, let me do this.
Just don't even give me a hint. Just shoot whatever you got.
Let me look at this other one. Let me see. All right, now we're doing this one. All right. The very first fight of the night. These are the two early prelims are going to be. I'm probably going to stump. So the very first fight of the night, Khalid Taha versus Bruno Gustavo da Silva, which was a no contest.
Yeah, gotta go up.
Yeah, that one would definitely stump me. First fight of the regular prelims. Megan Anderson in the first round submits Zara Ferrando Santos.
Okay, go up.
Brad Riddell defeats Jamie Malarkey. It's the very next fight. It's on the prelims. This is a pay-per-view, by the way. I don't remember if I mentioned that, but it is.
Is this a Stipe Cormier?
No, sir.
Okay.
You want another one?
Yeah, keep going.
How about first fight of the main card? Jorgen De Castro defeats Justin Taffa.
Oh, goddamn. Yeah, I don't know. You might have me.
A little further up, Sergey Spivak defeats Tai Tuivasa.
And this is a pay-per-view?
You want the co-main?
Yeah, give it to me.
Dan Hooker versus Ally Aquinta.
So this is Adesanya versus Whitaker, maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Very good.
I started to put together it was Australia.
But... Yeah, I was trying to be like careful about putting those. Like, shout out to Coconut Bombs was on here too. Mackie Patola. Yeah. We used to do that nickname. Me and my cousin for some reason. Him and was it Julia Marquez? That was that fight we were cackling, to say the least. That was a funny one. We always laughed at him, and not out of disrespect, just the Coconut Bombs with a Z always made us chuckle. But yeah, man, we've been going for a while. It was a blast. I definitely want to have you back. It was a lot of fun, and I know you said you never done it before. You handled it like a natural, man. You came off good. I'm glad you could make it. We'll definitely have to do it again. We'll just keep in touch, and we'll make it happen. Like I said, I really appreciate it. It was a fun time, man. I gotta ask one other thing. What's a piece of fight word stuff that you would like to get your hands on next? I'm just curious.
Anything from Corey Sandhagen. I don't have anything from
Yeah,
him yet. Like preferably like gloves or shorts. Like if I could pick one fight, it'd either be Edgar or Maurice. Like the gloves or
yeah,
shorts, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, dude. I just did I had a gift card for the collectibles store because of some stuff with the skipping out on framing. Instead of giving me a refund, they gave me a gift card for the Taporia shorts,
Okay.
and I haven't used it. And I decided I'd use it and just test my luck, see what happens. I did a mystery poster SBC, so we'll see which one I get. It should be here Friday. So I'm kind of curious if it's something that I don't want to keep, but it's worth some money. I'm going to try to flip it, and maybe, just maybe, it'll sell in time, and I can maybe see if about getting my hands on Pantosia's gloves from this past weekend.
It's
I'd
funny you
really like to get
mentioned.
my hands on those.
It's funny you mentioned the SBC posters. I literally just got one in the mail today.
A mystery one?
No, not a mystery one, because I got an email from them. I think it was like Saturday or Sunday, saying like posters 30% off, like from a select list. So I was looking through, and they had Sanhagen Maurice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it for after shipping. It was $150 for shipping, and that's Toporia's debut, Drickus debut, Aspinall fought on the card, and obviously it's Sanhagen's first main event. So it's a no-brainer.
That's dope. One that I won't be upset if shows up in that mystery box is Calvin Cater versus Josh Emmett. It's the only UFC event I've been to. That was a
Okay,
great
awesome,
card.
right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. Me and my cousin and my buddy
Jeremiah
Ty.
Wells deaded Court McGee on that card, right?
Yes. Did he? Man, that's one I remember most of the other fights, but that's one I
Let me
don't.
see. I'm going to check right now.
Yeah, we can check. We almost drove on a whim, literally the day of. We were just gonna buy tickets last minute. Me and my cousin Jordan and my buddy Tyler. We were gonna do a last minute trip to Austin for.
Yeah, Cater versus Emmett. Wells knocked him out.
Really,
Yeah.
I kind of remember that. That's when Tim Means, Dirty Bird, got subbed, I think, by or no. Yeah, that's the fight. He got subbed by Kevin Holland.
That's what I was going to guess.
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we derailed
Yeah.
as we tend to do, right? But yeah, man, I look forward to having you back. I'm super, super stoked. And anybody watching, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps out with the algorithm. Be sure to share with your friends. You do the same, Joe. Pass it around. Sure. I'll be passing around. I'll have it uploaded soon. And thanks again for coming, man. And
yeah, thanks for having me
next
again,
time.
I'll
until
do
next
time.
Absolutely, brother. Be blessed.